and gifts to the inhabitants. Now we want to try to put the both and in there, but sometimes it doesn't sound quite right in English. Having the ets in here just kind of is the signal to you that, okay, well, we've got two things here that are parallel. But you can say the queen gives both swords to the sailors and gifts to the inhabitants. Yes?
For dot, how do we know that it appeals to the queen?
You mean that the queen is the one who's giving?
Yeah.
Well, because the queen has to be nominative. So it's the subject.
Okay.
And so that's how we know. Okay? Because dot could be he, she, or it, or any other singular nominative noun, but because we have a nominative noun, that's going to be the one who's doing it. Okay? All right. Can I have a volunteer to read the next part? Seth.
In the sentence, or
Yes.
in the sentence, the accusative gladios and dona and the datives nautes and coles and incoles are placed in a parallel AB arrangement.
Okay, now what he means by AB is that both of these A's are accusative and both of these B's are dative.
Equally common is the arrangement of grammatical elements. In inverted sequence. Regina et gladios, et gladios nautis et incolis donatas. Which is ABBA.
Okay, they also did this. And so here we have our A's, those are both of our accusatives, and our B's, those are both of our datives. So both are common.
I know, but when you translate it, the bottom is different and it sounds weird.
Well, I wouldn't translate the bottom different. Although you could. You could say the queen gave both swords to the sailors and to the inhabitants gifts.
That's what they did and it's not weird.
Yeah. But
So it doesn't matter the order that they're in?
it doesn't matter much. Seth, would you keep reading?
Yes. In this sentence, a grammatical sequence, accusative dative, is reversed in the second time it appears, dative accusative. In this way, the contrasting parts of the sentence, gladios nautis and incolis dona, are balanced against each other. This ABBA, or inverted arrangement, is a rhetorical device.
Good?
Greek letter chi, I guess.
Depends on, I call it chi, but most people would call it chi.
I'll say chi. Greek letter chi in which the lines are crossed.
Okay, so you have this chiasmus, or chiasmus, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and that's the Greek letter chi, or chi, and if you look at it, you can see why. If you look at the sentence this way, the A's are here, the B's are here, they're crossed over, and so that's why you call that chiasmus. Okay, let's read about economy. Volunteer to read about economy?
Consider the following Latin phrase in its English translation. Librum poeta.
Okay?
You ready?
Yes.
Because Latin has inflectional endings for its nouns, and because Latin lacks definite article, B, 5 words and a notation about the syntax are required in English to translate what Latin expresses into.
Okay, let's see what that means. Looking at librum poetae. Let's do this the way we did this other sentence. When you see the word librum, what do you think in your head?
Book.
Book. And you don't just think book, you also think
Library.
read. Okay.
It's accusative.
That it's accusative, which means
Book.
Direct
direct, direct object.
Library.
Okay, so you think book and you think something's being done to the book because it's accusative. And then poetae.
Of the
Plural
poet.
or genitive.
It's either plural or genitive, but what makes sense right after you see the word book?
Of the.
Of the, okay? And so what does librum poetae mean?
The book of the poets.
The book of the poet,
Poet.
the book of the poet. And not only that, the book something's happening to the book. The book is a direct object. So that's why it's saying it requires 5 words and a notation. The book of the poet, and that's a direct object. Okay? You need all that to say it in English, when in Latin you just need to leave on poeta, and that's fine.
That's what I like about Latin. You can like shorten this sentence to this sentence.
Right, and one word sometimes can be translated
That's
as
because like I
bunch
love
of
you
things.
can be expressed in one word. Something like that.
2 words.
2 words. Why?
Well, because you have to have the you in there. Amo is I love, but you have to say who you're loving.
So how do you say that?
Te.
Well, what if you say it directly to someone?
So you just alone by itself is take.
If it's a direct object. I think you need to express what the
So
object
mate
is.
is what you would say.
Amo te.
Mate.
Or te amo.
Blank.
Okay, can you keep reading about economy?
This comparison gives some indication of natural economy of the Latin language. In general, Latin writers used all of the syntactic features of the language to express ideas in the shortest and clearest ways. A common feature of Latin writing is called, how do you say that word? Ellipsis.
Ellipsis.
The omission of one or more words that can be easily supplied for content. For example, Nautai, Donum, Regina,
Okay, hold on. Nautai,
Donum,
donum,
Regina,
regina,
Dot,
dot.
comma, Poeta Librum,
Poetai.
Poetai Librum.
Okay, now you've probably already read the translation, but let's look at it anyway.
No, I didn't. But
Okay, well done.
The first one is nominative plural, I'm guessing.
We would guess nominative plural because it comes first in the sentence. Okay, let's, in the back of our head, let's think what else could it be just in case it turns out not to be nominative plural.
It could be genitive.
Genitive singular or dative singular. Okay? Donum.
That's you. That's
Yeah.
Means gift. What gender is donum?
Neuter,
nom-
so it's
Could be nominative, could be
accused.
could be accusative. Okay, so still don't quite know yet. Regina
That's nominative.
has to be nominative.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes us rethink. Okay, that has to be nominative. The queen is now our subject. Okay, all right. So we've got that.
All right.
Queen's. All right. Then we have dot. Whenever we see dot, we think we're going to have a word in what case in the sentence?
Dative.
Dative. Okay,
That
so
means gift.
now we think, all right, well, now Ty was probably dative, and now we have a picture in our heads. Who's doing the action? And what is being given? The gift, and who's getting it? The sailor. Okay, so now we've got that picture in our head. Then we've got a comma. And we have just 2 words after the comma. Poetai librum. Now,
That's the same from before. It's
But it's
the
the
books of the
opposite.
poet.
hey, you had us help out with that one.
it could be, except for the fact that it comes in the second part of the sentence, it's probably going to be parallel to something in the first part of the sentence.
Oh, probably so.
Okay? And so we had here, the sailor was the recipient of a gift.
From
Here, the
queen.
poet is going to be the recipient of a book. And this is very common in Latin. It's called ellipsis. We leave out words because we already used them up here. We're not going to say them again down here. So it's the queen gives a gift to the sailor,
And
a book to the poet.
And so, and so there's just a comma between those 2 phrases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got a little bit more that we're